Yes? Yes, Jack, can you hear me?
Yeah, very well. Can you just introduce your research, Bernie?
My research was based on the living theory approach, and it was on achieving social justice for traveller children who are a minority group in Ireland, very much marginalised and treated as second-class citizens. So based on my values around social justice and equality, I wanted to ensure that they received the same entitlements to education as other children. From that, when I finished my PhD, along with 3 colleagues, Mary Roach, Maureen Glenn and Katrina MacDonough, we wished to continue on as action researchers. We had found the living theory approach to be such a life-enhancing approach that we did not want it to finish when we finished studying. And so since then we have been trying to influence other people, telling them the story of our research and the benefits that we got from it and that our pupils got. And we've had kind of various successes and failures and so on along the way, but recently we met up with Pip Ferguson, who is now working in DCU in Dublin, and with Pip we got the idea of forming a network for educational action research in Ireland, and we had the inaugural meeting of that group on the 25th of April, at which there were 24 people. And it was quite successful in the sense that all the people present felt that they needed a place for intellectual nourishment and a safe environment where they could discuss the issues that they had and where they could get support from us. So we hope now to move on from there, and we're already planning a second meeting of that group, and we hope that it will be a network to as a contact for anybody throughout Ireland who has an interest in action research, or who just has an open mind to things and wants to adopt a critical approach rather than just accepting everything that's handed to them. So is that enough for the moment, Jack? I don't want to hog the line.
That's really good, Ben. Thank you.
Very well done, Bernie.
We'll just move the speaker. Yeah. Okay. Are you okay with that? Okay. We'll try this. Okay. So we've got. Can Liz and Peter? Can you hear? Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's great.
Clearly, yes.
That's very good, because Pietro was Liz's doctoral supervisor in South Africa, the University of Victoria, and Liz's doctorate has been in relation to undergraduate medical education and bringing a living theory approach there. So, Peter, Liz, would you just like to introduce yourselves to the group?
Yes. Yes, I'm Peter de Troy. My field of specialization is higher education. So I'm involved in academic staff development. That is my passion, that is my joy, and I have a lot of laughs working with the professors in the class. And at some stage, Liz was one of the academics joining the program, and there is where the relationship started. And she can tell you more about our relationship in terms of research supervision and what it means in terms of reciprocal learning and the supervisor learning from the student.
Hi everybody, my name is Liz, as you know by now. My living theory was around using the values of agency and care in including public health in the medical curriculum, because public health is not a welcome inclusion in the medical curriculum. And as Peter said, that's where we started our journey together. We've got other things in common where we teach on and we facilitate learning around action research in amongst mostly the healthcare professions about trying to bring about change in the health system in the broader sense. But our ARNA poster, we decided to not focus either on his work or on my work, but rather on the supervisory relationship between the two of us. And we tried to, in the process, we tried to challenge the notion of supervision being a contractual agreement, and we explored looking at how supervision can be a moral agreement. And we used creative methods in the supervision process, and we looked at how we could both learn from one another. So we hope you enjoy the poster. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Liz. And I'll be showing you Liz's poster with Peter, in a few minutes. But here, I just wonder, Pip, can you hear?
I can.
Okay, so Pip's in Ireland, and then Sonia, if that's okay, and then Terry. And Delicia, you're there as well, great. So, Pip, okay?
Hi everybody. I encountered action research in the 1980s when I was working as a staff developer in a polytechnic in New Zealand. I decided to do my PhD at using action research to help develop a research culture. And in the course of that study in 1994, I visited the UK where I met Jack. I was introduced to living educational theory at that stage, which, while it didn't permeate my thesis per se, has stayed very much a part of my practice since. I'd just like to pick up a couple of points raised by the lady over to my right, which is probably down from where Jack is, who mentioned the thrill of being able to communicate using technology, and also the issue of love being present in academic environments. And I just wanted to share with you one of the living educational theory tasks that I perform with great joy is being a peer reviewer for the eJobs journal. I'm sure Jack and Jackie will tell you about that. And back in the day, I reviewed a paper by a woman called Sarah Salyers. Sarah and I stayed in contact, and she said in response to the review feedback that she got from me and somebody else that it was the first time she'd ever encountered love operating in an educational and academic context. She and I have just yesterday, never met, we've just yesterday submitted an abstract for the World Congress, which we've got our fingers crossed will be accepted, and we may get to meet in South Africa.
That's great.
Good, we would like to welcome you here.
I will be back definitely, Peter. I've had one accepted already.
If we bring Sonia in now, because Sonia's in the UK, Executive Director of Accounts Net, but is also going to Pretoria for the World Congress of Action Learning in November. Okay, so everybody should be able to be connected. Sonia, will you just introduce?
Yes, so as Jack says, I'm in the UK. I'm a doctoral student and I'm studying, using living theory and looking from where I've come from as a child in care through my journey to becoming a chief executive of a carers charity, and how through that I can think about how we can sustain the hope that we can be the change that we want to be in the world. So my values are very much around hope, but also love as well, which has been talked about, and justice and participation. So those are the things that I'm really trying to look at in my practice and thinking about how do I bring that into the work I'm doing as a leader of a charity, but also how has that influenced me throughout my life. So that's the work I'm doing. I'm hoping to get my paper into ALARA and come and meet everybody in South Africa, which will be very exciting.
Thanks, Sonia. And we've also got Delicia. Now, unless Delicia's gone off. No, Delicia, hang on. Hang on, yeah. Okay.
South Africans.
Right, Delicia, would you mind? Delicia's also in South Africa, and it's been like Durban University of Technology. Okay, Delicia, could you?
Hi, Jack. I'm not alone. I'd like to introduce as well. With me here is Lee.
Great.
He's Scott and Linda Barkus. I've been involved with Living Theories research, working with Professor John Connolly, who is now retired, and she introduced us to Jack Whitehead and to his work in about 2009. Jack visited us at Durban University of Technology. I completed my doctorate study in 2013, where I was trying to look at learning, understand the process of learning, and for me, the values of love and joy are the values that come through very strongly in the work that I do. And I am a staff developer, I'm a canon in the church, I'm a reverend canon in the church, and I work at the university, so I do all these things, and what keeps me going is the love and the joy that I have, and that most of my colleagues, they're actually in dire need of because of the situations that we find ourselves in the classroom and in our practice. And I find that the love and joy that we can share is very enabling and helps us to cope through the day. We also meet as a group. We have what we call a mentoring practitioner researcher group that was meeting once a week, and where we share, and that's where Lee and Linda and many others have come together, and we've shared and written abstracts for conferences and things. And I think, Sonia, I met you at the Liverpool Hope.
Liverpool Hope, yeah.
That's right, the Liverpool Hope at John Walton at Symposium. So, so through the work that we're doing, we're continuing to do action research and living theories. I'm actually, a paper of mine, an abstract has been accepted at the ISET conference in New Zealand, where I'm looking at my leadership and how the love and joy is impacting on my leadership and the values that I have, and looking at living theory. So I want to just maybe hand over to Lee and to Linda to share a bit about their work.
Great, thanks. Lee, could you? And then we'll come Linda.
Yes, thanks. I just want to say that one of the most important things about my study for me was, okay, obviously because you're looking at yourself and what have you in relation to all sorts of things, but it was the word well-being. I think that was Marie's thing. That has been it was one of my values, one of the most important things for me, because it's in the classroom, the learning happens because of well-being, and my other values include creativity and play, but they all lead to the well-being. I don't think that's ever going to change for me. Constant well-being, student well-being, my well-being, yeah, it's all about the love.
Yes.